will you tee up the first of the two Munster Club semi-finals this weekend, Na Piarsaigh and Waterford, or Na Piarsaigh and Ballygunner of Waterford for us?
I surely will, yeah. Can't wait for this game. Like last year's game was probably one of the highest quality club games I've ever seen. And we're expecting much of the same on Sunday. So they're meeting in the Gaelic grounds again. Funny that they're meeting at the same venue, and it's a home venue for Na Piarsaigh 2 years running. Like, just,
well, the Cork team hasn't had home advantage in the Munster Championship at all.
That's true. That's true. When you fly down through, like, is matchups the best place to start? Like, some absolutely mouth-watering ones. Mike Casey picked up Dsy Hutchinson last year. I think Dsy ended up getting a crucial goal. Casey did well enough on him, to be fair. That's a really interesting one. Will O'Donoghue, and this would be my one worry from a Na Piarsaigh point of view. He got back for the county final and everything went swimmingly, and it can lull you into a false sense of where you actually are. Now, I'm sure he's not like that, and I'm sure he knows that I have to put in an unbelievable, 3 weeks since then, and I'm sure he has. But like what they're going to be faced with on Sunday, he could be faced with Pádraig Mahoney, he could be faced with Kevin Mahoney, he could be faced with Mikey Mahoney, he could be faced with Dsy, he could be faced with Patrick Fitzgerald, all at different stages. And it's that like how Na Piarsaigh are able to shore up that area there is going to be fascinating, and how he's able to get to the pitch of the game is going to be fascinating too. O'Donoghue.
Yeah, do you know, I sometimes look at the Na Piarsaigh team and wonder, are they still always kind of trying to move things around to find their most optimal 15? Like Jerome Boylan is a big loss, because like our commenter Hurlin1234 says here, he would have been very good to pick up Patrick Fitzgerald, and they would have had Mike Casey on Dsy Hutchinson and him on Fitzgerald. So now they're going to have to look at somebody else. And I don't know, is there a natural matchup? Because I don't think it would suit Cathal King. Like, you're really, really excellent club career that he's had over the years, but I'm not sure if he's necessarily suited to that matchup. And then you're looking at possibly Emmett McAvoy, somebody like that, and obviously they can move the pieces around, find somebody else to take the matchup. But I wonder, like, can they afford to have Will O'Donoghue been further back the pitch, potentially being played around? Because I think Ballygunner is so good at moving the ball up the pitch that if they don't meet the resistance of Will O'Donoghue around the middle sector, can they potentially just play O'Donoghue out of the game? And I think that Ronan Lynch is obviously an excellent hurler, right? I think he's better facing the play. And they've had him in the half back line and wearing number 6 and stuff like that. So we don't know where he'll play. He could play midfield. When you look at the match reports of the Patrick Swell game, that's where he was playing alongside Conor Boylan. So if you had him trying to be that hurling force at centre-back, cutting ball out, using the ball well from the back line, ostensibly it seems like that would be the call. And then have Boylan and Will O'Donoghue and some of those, Peter Casey coming out the field, getting on ball, David Dempsey. They have a lot of really good players there. To me, there's a, you look at that Ballygunner team, every position, it kind of almost picks itself already. Whereas I think the Piarsaigh have to sort of weigh things up an awful lot more. Yes, we can see why you put Will O'Donoghue centre back, and you might need him there, but you also need him further out the field. I mean, that's the big conundrum.
I totally take your point. Sure, Kevin Downs played the semi-final centre back, and he
played. It didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work, and he played wing forward last day, obviously, and it did work.
He was brilliant. Yeah.
I'd be the same as you. I'd be putting Will O'Donoghue midfield and getting him to go to war with either Paddy Levy or Conor Sheehan, to be honest with you. Because I think, and he talked about it in the aftermath of the county final, I think that's something he's way more comfortable with. He wants to be in the fire. He doesn't want to be playing, and I totally agree. Ballygunner will play around him, and he would be a non-entity in the game. I agree with you 100% there, because that's what they do. They don't make a hero of the centre back, so they will not make a hero of him. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if, and they've done it all year, if Na Piarsaigh not necessarily ring the changes, but there'd be 2 or 3 or maybe 4 kind of positional changes. I would be along the lines of that. I'd be putting Will O'Donoghue midfield, because I think it's something he's going to be a lot happier with. And at least if he's a bit ring rusty, he's going to be, he'll know he'll be well involved after 10 minutes. There'll be a couple of big hits. And I just think, I remember actually last year's game, he put a goal on a plate for someone. I can't remember who it was, with a defence splitting pass, like a beautiful ball. So like maybe getting to kind of play that type of role as well going forward, maybe. But like I'd be on the same lines as you too, because otherwise I think he'd be played around. And like Ballygunner, it's all well and good having a plan to beat Ballygunner, and you're going to do X and Y, they're so well drilled at this stage. And I think someone we have to talk about here is like, what are Na Piarsaigh going to do with Philip Mahoney? Are they going to potentially push a 7 forward up on him? Maybe not that, but are they going to make sure that he is occupied throughout and maybe try and leave somebody else free?
Yeah, no, look, that's a great point as well. I actually think they should put one man inside in the 6-yard box and then play 2 forwards kind of out either side of him. Now that, of course, allows the Ballygunner defenders to mark on the outside of them, which is a little bit restrictive as a forward, but I think you just can't allow him to take over the game. Couple of things. I think they could look at the idea of playing David Dempsey really close to goal because he's got such a brilliant hand, but I think Barry Coughlin might be happy enough to try and wrestle with him close to the square. So maybe the flip side is to get a smaller, more diminutive, maybe Will Hen, maybe he'll operate further out the field. But just coming back again to what Na Piarsaigh will do at 6, because Ballygunner have been going for that long ball, or they did a bit of it against Sarsfields, we may not see it again. But if Will O'Donoghue is playing there at number 6 and he's protecting the D or whatever and ball goes long, you'd feel he'd be happy enough to do with that. And if there's a break, he's a brilliant +1 to get in a few tackles. Whereas I don't know if that's Ronan Lynch's game quite so much. So if Lynch, for example, plays centre back, maybe they'd be more inclined to go long. Whereas maybe they'd be inclined to go more short if Will O'Donoghue isn't, in the middle.
Yeah, just on that as well. Ballygunner are that good and that game smart that it will literally be 30 seconds into the game, they will realise who's centre back and they will realise whether we can go long or should go long or whether we can. You've been involved in teams, as have I, where it could take 45 minutes for a team to realise what they should or shouldn't do. Like, I've been involved in teams where we brought on a big man and put him into the edge of the square and we've not hit a ball into the edge of the square. Do you know what I mean? But Ballygunner are that smart. I'm sure it would be a plan for, if O'Donoghue is here, we're not going to make a hero of him. We're not going to launch. Stephen O'Keefe will not hit one of these, boomers. If it's Ronan Lynch or somebody else, maybe less of a physical presence, and that's just because O'Donoghue is such a physical presence, not slighting anybody else, that they will look to play that.
Yeah.
But that's just how smart Ballygunner are. And it's also Seanie O'Donnell analysing these Limerick players, I'm sure, to death, their strengths and weaknesses throughout the year. And now the boot is on the opposite foot and he's got the Ballygunner cap on. And now he's looking at, he knows what Will O'Donoghue is best at. He knows what Peter Casey is best at. He knows what all those boys involved with Limerick are best at. And Ballygunner will avoid making them look good, I'd put it to you that way. And they'll try and exploit their weaknesses or just play away from them.
Yeah, I just feel that the more we talk about this, the more that Na Piarsaigh need, let's borrow the parlance from soccer and basketball, the high press here. They need unbelievable tackling high up the field. To be fair, you'd imagine the collective energy of Adrian Breen, Peter Casey, who, maybe Ian Kenny will pick him up and follow him wherever he goes. Will Hen, I was going to say Vince Harrington, but he's in the half back line. David Dempsey and so on and so forth.
Kevin Downs,
Kevin Downs. They should be able to put a fairly heavy press with Boylan around midfield and maybe Will O'Donoghue there as well. If you're Pádraig Mahoney, though, you're probably, if Ronan Lynch is playing centre back, will he go centre forward to try and see, right, can he mix it with me and will he mark me closely? Or because that maybe Will O'Donoghue would sit back, would Pádraig Mahoney try to play off him, or would he look to go to one of the less experienced, still experienced wing backs, but less experienced guys and try and see, can he get a bit of change out of them? Again, it's just, there's so many aces in this pack for Ballygunner. I just feel because we've got questions about how Na Piarsaigh will set up and do they need a high press. We're not worried about do Ballygunner need a high press, for example. No. We're not worried about what if this player has to play there. That's why I can't but go back to last year's game and think for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, we're going to have an unbelievable club game. But then Ballygunner will just have them slightly at arm's length for the rest of the game. 3 points, 4 points, back to 2, back to 5. Something like that is what I'm expecting.